welcome to another episode of Mad Men Sports Podcast. As always, we have Diamond Dave, Jacob, and me, Zach. How's everyone doing today?
Good, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm a little sunburned. But
A little sunburned? Why are you sunburned, Jacob?
We actually took a trip to New York City, which was fun.
We did take a trip to New York City, and there was a lovely trip, honestly, but there was one downside to it. We are 3 days behind on our podcast.
But the Jets still do suck.
Yes, we went there, we confirmed it. We wanted primary source evidence. The Jets are freaking horrible.
We should go to Miami next, see if they still suck.
Oh.
Hey, listen, charge it to the company credit card. I'm all in to go to Miami.
Company credit card?
It's actually Dave's credit card.
Yeah, it's just Dave's. What do we call it?
Diamond Dave to you.
Oh,
yeah.
Ooh, my
Now
bad.
his secret identity is revealed. It's just Dave. So we had a lot of news while we were in New York City, actually, which made us just sit there for 3 days with regret that we couldn't just have a live podcast. But we didn't have our mic nor our studio equipment. So we want to touch on the things we missed. As you saw on our Twitter or Facebook, and if you didn't, follow them, please. And a couple big storylines kind of accumulate this week. So we want to really talk about it and air our grievances out or our compliments. Would you say that's right, boys?
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll know soon enough how I feel.
So we had Jerry Hughes signing a 2-year extension worth up to $23 million in value, and 19.5 is guaranteed. On the wrong side of 30 years old, he has played exceptional, I'd say, last couple of years. Jake, he's like your favorite player on the defense. What do you think about Jerry Hughes?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say he's my favorite player, but he definitely brings a lot to that Bills defensive line. Jerry Hughes does have the highest pressure rate in the NFL at 16.2%. So it's nice to finally get the man some cheddar to give him some extra motivation at sack Tom Brady this year. So I'm excited.
Yeah, he was going to a contract year, and that happens with athletes that go into contract years. But the problem was they had their two best defensive ends going to the contract year at the same time. So it's really great to lock up at least one of them. Got to figure out what you're doing with Shaq Lawson and see what's going on there. I have an interesting stat on Jerry Hughes, which shout out to another Jerry Sullivan, always raining on everyone's parades. He said that Jerry Hughes had 0 sacks in 8 of the 10 Bills losses last year. So that kind of just shows you, at least the way I'm interpreting that sack, is the Bills kind of go as Jerry Hughes goes, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I hate to be the Jerry Sullivan of this podcast right now and be the negative one, but you say exceptional? You're forgetting all the penalties Jerry Hughes has gotten over the past couple of years? He might even lead the league. And why would you sign him to that extension but not give Shaq Lawson an extension? A 5th-year extension at that. Do you guys agree that was a bad move?
I think Shaq Lawson really has something to prove this year if he does want any money, especially on the open market. The way that the 5th-year option goes, it's based off of market value. And right now, defensive ends are second to quarterbacks right now and getting paid ridiculous amounts of money. So I really think that if you want to give, or if you're Shaq Lawson and you want that extension and you want some cheddar this week, as Jake would put it, if you want some cheddar this year, you kind of have to show it first. So Jerry Hughes has had a track record of showing it. Yes, he has had penalties, and I think that was kind of more of the nature of the beast of being around Rex Ryan and kind of Doug Marrone and how they wanted these guys to be maulers and just really get after the ball when Sean McDermott kind of comes into the organization and shows these guys that if you just play with proper, demeanor, you can get kind of what you want out of the game. But to your point, he did have that incident in Miami last year. I believe it was Miami. Was that last year?
Yeah, is that when he got in the argument with the referee?
Yeah, that was not a good look.
But didn't McDermott come out and back him up, saying he loves the fact that he wants to back up his team on that? And
yeah, nothing ever came of it. I mean, if anything, the ref was reprimanded more than Jerry Hughes was.
Yeah,
because the referee had a track record of saying things to players, if I'm remembering correctly. So Jerry Hughes wasn't at fault.
I love having the veteran experience, and I love that he's not going anywhere. But we need a sack rusher.
It'll be exciting to see what Shaq Lawson does do, though, knowing he is on that contract year, whether he's going to get paid by the Bills or paid by another team. So I'm excited to see the front 7 definitely.
Yeah, I mean, right now we have
mess it up.
Trent Murphy and Jerry Hughes, 2 starters, making a lot of money.
Yeah, I
need to start showing something.
As for Shaq Lawson, I thought he had a great season last season.
He had a great 4 games.
Yeah, that was plenty for me. He was really kind of a question mark going into the season. He was, do you trade him for anything you can get? So I liked the way he kind of matured a little bit and is the way he's developed as a player, and I think he will take a step this season because he's just constantly working hard for it.
Has to stay healthy.
Yeah, speaking of staying healthy, we've had some crazy injury news come out of OTAs this week. What would you say?
Too many.
Yeah, I mean, the list just kept piling up.
Get him out of the way now.
I mean, maybe they're lucky enough, right? What of the injuries really stick out to you guys, Jake?
A lot at the running back position. I mean, we have T.J. Yeldon nursing a groin injury. We have Frank Gore kind of battling some injuries from last year in foot and ankle. So, I mean, really, Devin Singletary was taking most of the reps in the OTAs this week. So, I mean, that's good to see a young fella kind of get his reps in the absence of some perennial players. So, see what he does with it.
Got a tight end issue with Croft being out right now. He should be back start of the season, they said, but he needs to get that Josh Allen reps. And also, Kroom, I guess, got hurt at practice this week. So now we're down to 2 young tight ends.
Dawson Nix, exciting to see. I'm excited to see how he takes advantage of his role, his new role, since he's going to be getting more reps because of those 2 injuries.
Might be time to get chemistry with Josh Allen. And also, Zach's boy, Lee Smith, is back on the team.
My boy, that's Jake's boy. I don't know about me. I'm not a big tight end
Why are you just assuming my favorite players on the Buffalo Bills team? Jerry Hughes, not my favorite player on the Bills defense.
Lee Smith is. So
Are you going to hit him?
Definitely not.
I'm going to shove you in a locker. You are absolutely a Lee Smith stan.
I don't think so.
I have the receipts.
Please.
You're a mad man right
Twitter.
now.
Because I
will right now.
Please. You won't.
Dude, you love a blocking tight end. Oh, because I like that. I think we need that.
What?
We've had this conversation multiple times.
Definitely not. I said it's nice to have him back on the team, but
and you're
I'm
the
not
only
saying.
Person in Western New York.
Lee Smith.
You're the only person in Western New York that said that.
Bet.
Well, Lee Smith took a lot of money from the Raiders, so I'll be friends with him.
Exactly. Me and him are gonna grab a beer.
So yeah, because he's your favorite player. So Jake's buddy Lee Smith's back on the team, and he came at the perfect time because there are 2 injuries. We don't really know what's going on with Jason Kroom, but we do know that Tyler Croft does have a broken bone. So that'll give... What was that?
Nice.
Hopefully he recovers fast. So if we can kind of get him to kind of get into the reps with Josh Allen, just like Dave was saying, it's a perfect time for these tight ends that are in really a heated position battle to conform to a steady, diet of Josh Allen passes. Because he is really an unorthodox thrower with how hard he throws it and how tight his sparkle comes out sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why those practice reps are going to be crucial. I mean, you can't plug and play players with Josh Allen. The ball's going to go through their hands or through their chest. I mean, those reps are crucial. Josh Allen's going to need to know where that ball is going to be placed. So, yeah, we really need those young receivers.
Tight ends are a huge part of getting the running game going. That was our weakness last year.
And listen, if you think that reps with the quarterback is an overrated thing, look at Robert Foster last year. He stayed here because he really didn't have a lot of money. He stayed here during the bye week and kind of helped Josh Allen come along from the injury. And look at his second half of the season last year. That was night and day from... I mean, he was looking like his career was over to now he could be the top 3 wide receiver on the team. It's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is another affirmation.
Well, if Zay Jones is looking as good as they're saying in the reports, they're saying he looks big and fresher this year.
And he had a great season last year, and I know we talked a couple podcasts ago about how great his last year was. Dave doesn't believe us that he was great.
You really thought that we're great and exceptional around a lot, don't you?
No, Zay Jones I'm a stand for. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, you like Zay Jones, but you love Lee Smith.
Yeah, funny.
So speaking of replacements with Lee Smith replacing Croft, there was a replacement in the booth this week with Eric Wood stepping into Mark Kelso's spot. Dave, what are your thoughts on that?
I actually love it. I think Mark Kelso was very smart. He knew what he was doing. He was a huge fan. I loved how he got fired up whenever the refs made a bad call, good call. You guys have season tickets, so you guys don't hear the home games a lot, but he gets really fired up. He's pumping up just like the fans. I think Eric Wood will be very similar and a lot like it. He's a fan at heart for the Bills, and he lives here, I'm pretty sure. And he just knows what he's talking about. Don't know where Mark Kelso's going now, but I believe he'll still continue to support the Bills.
Maybe he'll replace Steve Tasker, who retired from the CBS booth this week. Just chock full of news this week, really.
I know, jeez. I think Eric Wood has been preparing to be up in the booth. He's been doing a lot of podcasts lately, trying to get his media voice ready. It'll be exciting. It's always good to get a former player's perspective on a lot of things that us as fans don't really see. So I'm all supporting the decision, really.
He's just jockeying for his position again, that Wall of Fame. This is another thing on his resume.
Yeah, I always thought he spoke really fluently on the mic. He did that show with Shope and the Bulldog during the week, and they just ate that up. I think he was really, he's the color commentator for the Bills now, so he's going to be standing for the Bills no matter what, where it goes. So I'm looking forward to it. I think he brings a really interesting, position to the table on the team, and I'm looking forward to seeing who replaces John Murphy soon, because I cannot wait for that one.
I don't see Murphy going anywhere, but I haven't heard anybody say a bad word about Kelso. Kelso was very good. Eric Wood has big shoes to fill.
He's big enough to fill them, I'd say.
He's size 16, actually.
Speaking of filling clothing,
Don't say it.
this week,
Don't say it.
This week, we had a player come out and replace O.J. Simpson and wear his number. What do you guys think? Is that okay in your book or not okay?
I think it's a non-issue. I don't care. I mean, yeah, it's perfect to represent a legacy in O.J. Simpson. That's why you have him on the wall. A number, I don't think is an issue.
Yeah, do you think O.J. Simpson even cares?
No, he doesn't.
I think it's a non-news story.
I think we shouldn't care because he's a murderer of two people, not that...
Allegedly.
Okay.
Actually,
Did you not see the Cuba Gooding Jr. show?
I did. It was actually really good.
criminally innocent, civilly guilty.
Not innocent. Yeah, and then he just got out of jail, was it 2 years ago at this point?
Yeah.
So he's not really the greatest human being out there. I'd give away his jersey tomorrow again if I could.
Ralph Wilson was a fan.
Yeah, and
that's good enough for me.
Very questionable
That is good enough for me.
Very questionable legacy of Ralph Wilson Jr. But
I think we all agree it's close to a non-story, but
yeah, I mean it's a non-story. It's definitely a story because no one's worn the jersey.
who's the player replacing him?
Sonoris Perry.
Perry. So whether he makes the team or not, he'll always be remembered.
Yeah, I mean this really might not be a story because he may not make the team. So this is just 5 minutes of fame, if nothing else. But is it a problem that we have that many running backs on the roster right now that we have to give away a number that's kind of shelved? Maybe that's the bigger story here.
That'll be thinned down a lot. But.
Yeah, I mean, they gave away Fred Jackson's number like a turnstile.
Who knows?
Really.
Maybe we should get a petition going. Maybe OJ should lead the charge week 1.
I don't think he's allowed to lead the state
Just
of Nevada.
bring the Bronco right out there.
I don't think he can lead anything.
No.
He probably can't run much anymore.
I don't think that's what we're worried about.
I don't know if he's ever. I don't know if he's ever really.
He's
ran.
innocent. Innocent until proven guilty.
He was proven guilty in a civil court. And that's not what we're talking about, though.
Just get Cuba Gooding Jr. on this podcast.
That would be a good one. And it's time to return to our new segment that we started last week with Meet the Coach. That's when we want to really, greet our fans with the coaching staff and have them kind of brush up on their knowledge of the coaching staff of the Buffalo Bills. We have a new coach at the quarterback's coach position. His name's Ken Dorsey. He used to be Cam Newton's quarterback's coach from 2013 to 2017. I'm not really sure why he left. I don't think it was anything because he was bad. I mean, during that time span, Cam Newton was in the Super Bowl, so maybe we can kind of get that out of Josh Allen a little bit in an ideal world. He's a 2001 BCS champion. U out of Miami. He was those teams are great, weren't they, Dave?
Yeah, McGahee, Andrew Johnson, Colin Winslow, they were stacked.
They were just riddled with talent. And, I mean, honestly, he was just as talented as the rest of those guys. Didn't have as much of a successful NFL career as those guys. He played 3 years for the 49ers, 3 years for the Browns, and 1 year for the Toronto Argonauts. So not too far away, right?
No, local boy.
Yeah.
Gotta get his jersey.
We'll think about it. Maybe we'll get him on the podcast, though. I always like fans. Maybe he'll like fans, too. That's all we have for this week. We plan to be back on our regular schedule next week, on releasing this on Monday, right, Jacob?
Correct.
So we'll be back to our regular schedule this week, and I appreciate you guys listening to us. Talk to you soon. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube, and you can listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thanks, guys.
Bye.